What's up, y'all? It's King of the Root back with another video, and I had did a reading on Aaron Carter maybe 2 weeks ago. I just wanted to dig and I wanted to do a reading on camera, but I really wanted to be able to focus on it. I just got this Egyptian deck, and any of the decks that are like the Hermetic Order decks, the Golden Dawn, I believe it's called the Thoth deck, that deal with like the different levels of the Tree of Life and the Cabal or the Kabbalah. Um, they're very intricate. Some people is it refrain, or some people absorb energy in different ways visually. I believe visual was kinetic. They had these fancy names in college, and kinetic was the way I absorbed knowledge. I believe it was visual and something else. Some people need to be hands-on fully, which I'm a hands-on person too. I need to touch and feel it as well, but visually I can learn something very easily as well. But and as you can see, Spirit has been showing up a lot for me on camera. I remember I used to watch this certain psychic who's very popular, who you guys probably know. I think I've mentioned her in my things before. But at one point, I don't ever doubt her, but I was like, what if she's actually knocking the camera and the camera's not moving, or having somebody do something to the camera? What if that's just something that happens with that form of the camera, and that's why it goes out of frame, or it gets all blurry? But no, when I started to move into some other forms of magic, and over the past like 2 years, they've been showing up a whole lot on camera, blurring the camera, making the camera go in and out of focus. I recorded a video earlier. I might put up on a YouTube short, and you'll be able to see it with this new pot I just bought that's not been blessed. It literally was still in the Walmart bag before I hit record on the camera and ripped the sticker off it. And it had 4 coins I put in the bottom that I was going to bless for some readings, and the spirits instantly came and were throwing the camera all out of the batch. And as you can see with this one, as you see this one out of focus. So this is nothing more than the cards. Now these are blessed and are being used, and they're the Egyptian deck, and they have some very hardcore symbols on them. They're very powerful. This is actually a powerful deck. I'm really sure, because I had downloaded the book on this. It came with a little booklet for it, but it also, you can there's this site that I read books in there for free. You have to find your own. I'm not going to tell you what it is, but that I read free books on occult books, especially, is what I really focus on. A lot of them are usually in Portuguese and Spanish, because I'm in Miami, which kind of sucks sometimes. I have to translate a lot of stuff. But anywho, getting back to when you're dealing with decks like this, a lot of times they're intricate. It's a lot going on. I love decks like this. I'm not going to lie, like this, especially like these ones, because this one has it. I don't know. This only card is dirty like this, but this one has it's got the Rider Waite meanings, of course, the Egyptian meanings are their interpretations, and then of course they've got each card that has astrology hooked into it. And astrology is, if I could say, if I can name like 3 things in spirituality that are like my favorite, we all have our favorite things about spirituality. Some are tarot, some is this ritualistic work with candles and doing full rituals, and some people may like coins, some people may like candles, some people may like water magic or earth magic, whatever. But these, any decks are like this. Like I said, they're like the Golden Dawn, or decks like these are very intricate, and there's a lot to them, because like I said, they deal with the cabal and the different trees, the different levels in the Tree of Life, or different houses, or whatever they're called, and the Tree of Life, and this means this, and this means Yazad, and it's a lot that goes into it. So yeah, I just bought this deck, and I wanted to be able to actually do a reading with Aaron Carter, but I actually want to do a reading with, it was a couple spirits I read on, and I want to do a reading with them, but I actually want to be able to focus and speak with these spirits and have a good time, because I actually had read on read with Brittany, and not even read on, I'm going to say read on, I actually spoke with what we believe, because who knows what we're really speaking with. We know a lot, we don't know shit at all. But what I believe to be Brittany Murphy, and wasn't a big fan now. Wow, wasn't a big fan when she's around, we'll say it like that. I was a fan after she was dead and gone. But I was actually, what was so cool about that, I recorded that video, Tim was going to post it, and I may still post it, but what was cool about that was, it was remember those old Hollywood shows that come on, like Cribs? Like, they would always have it would be like the life of Brittany Murphy, and anyway, they had these shows that were coming on, but what the show had was, it was a bunch of stars like Britney Spears, Beyonce, who had siblings who also went on to do things in the industry, and they came on. And then after that show came on, they had a show that come on that was talking about these interesting Hollywood deaths, like Whitney Houston, I think it was Brittany Murphy, and somebody else. But as it was going on, I decided to do a reading as they were discussing these stories, to see how deep we could get into it, and what would actually come up inside of these readings. I thought that was interesting. And Brittany Murphy decided that she wanted to she wanted to come through and talk and actually stick around, and she gave a lot of insight. And maybe I'll I remember a lot about her reading. Actually, maybe I'll come back and I'll tell you guys what she said, because her reading was interesting. She's actually one who told me she would stick around and actually help me in some spiritual work. I've actually heard one of my favorite psychics say that she will not be crossing over, or she will not be reincarnating, not, at least not in the way that we, a lot of us, perceive reincarnation. But interesting, very interesting. Watch out for her mama. She loves her mom, but her mom. Anyway, getting back to Aaron Carter. If you guys are interested in Aaron Carter, what I picked up from Aaron Carter, what Aaron Carter told me is I should have set up the cards. I might have it. I think I had taken pictures and wrote it down in the book. The cards actually came out, but I remember it was three. It was the Queen of, I believe it was the Queen of Coins, the Queen of, it might even Queen of Cups. I remember it was the Queen of three of the suits in the tarot deck that kept coming up, and I remember in these decks, this is how I really remember it. They were Leos. So at the top, the symbol or the card was in the energy of Leo. And when I went to look at his parents and his girlfriend and the people who are surrounding him, especially the women, I didn't really find any Leos, but there may be a woman in his life that they're not born under the Leo sign, the sun sign, but they may have a lot of prominent Leo energy. Or maybe the person could really, it could be a male and they could be represented by female energy, and maybe they're more feminine. Maybe they're Capricorn. Maybe they're Cancerian, what have you. But I really want to focus on the women who are around Aaron Carter. They came up. So I do believe how the story goes. I believe that the maid is the one who found him in the water, um drowned in the bathtub, allegedly. Do we really need to say allegedly anymore? I believe we've cleared this case for the most part, and what they're going to tell us, they've told us. But I believe that's how it goes, that he got high and overdosed and maybe drowned in the bathtub. I know we all remember those freaky ass bathtub pictures, with the water being like green, and everybody was like, did he really decompose in the water that quickly, and with the water turned that color that quickly? It was kind of freaky looking. But I do believe, if I'm correct, that his girlfriend, I believe the maid found him, but the girlfriend also was at the house or something too, because I think after it was all said and done, there was some funny stories that came out about the girlfriend saying like maybe she didn't tell her to call the cops. I don't want to go there, because I wasn't a big follower of Aaron Carter as he got older either, until the ending days and the death really came. But I do remember him growing up. I Want Candy, a couple other songs, Lizzie McGuire, or whatever. It's kind of crazy. I would never remember that him and um, what the fuck is his brother's name? Him and the guy from Backstreet Boys are actually brothers. Um, all those years, I never made the correlation. I don't think a lot of us did. It was like two different worlds. So crazy. But you see how it keeps going out of focus. But so what I picked up is that there are, and this could have been three female energies, or it could have been one female energy who was very strong. But what I picked up is that there was definitely a female energy leading up until his death, that was very prominent in his life. It does seem like, because I did ask him the question if the girl that he was dating, I believe it was his fiance, and I knew the name last week when I was recording, so I don't remember the name anymore, because I went to go look up her sign, and I wanted to see what she was about, because I think that was the issue too. They said that like she cleaned out all the shit inside of his house really fastly, because I think they have a kid together, and people were kind of upset about that. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I wanted to know her zodiac sign, her sun sign, and so yeah, I wanted to know if they sent her in kind of as a plant, to take him out, because if anybody knows, I don't know about these guys nowadays, because it seems like everybody's fucking gay and transgender. But back in the day, if you wanted to take a guy out really easily and really throw him off his boss, send in a badass girl. Even some of the best like mob bosses, or guys who are really high ranking in certain it doesn't really matter what industry, but if they were really top tier and you couldn't take them out, I mean, which is so, because I've heard so many stories recently where like the guy knew people were after them, or the woman knew people were after them, and they sent in the opposite sex or the same sex to take them out, and it's like you did not see that coming. But I wanted to know, like a lot of us wanted to know, was she somebody who was sent in to take him out and maybe get him back on drugs, and maybe to feed him drugs, and maybe even was she a runner who was acting like she was in love with him and was really just trying to feed him drugs so she could feed him that hot shot? And it doesn't seem like that. I do believe that she had her own issues and maybe her own agendas. It didn't seem like she was a bad person from what I picked up. It does seem like they were really in love and he was really excited about this relationship. um he has a lot of love for his mother. I will tell you that his mother was on the board a lot too. As far as people who are concerned about what was going on with him and P. Diddy, because people were starting to say that one of his last videos where he was talking about everybody taking the stuff, you all know it. It's a short that's going around, where he's like crying and he's talking about how he fucked up or some shit. and how certain things started in his teenage years. And if you know, you know, you've all seen the video, but a lot of people were saying they think he was talking about P. Diddy, and P. Diddy may have been the one who was taking away his stuff. It does seem like when he was younger, actually around the same age, and people made that correlation too, the same age as Justin Bieber, when he met P. Diddy, allegedly. It does seem like that Aaron Carter and P. Diddy did develop a relationship, and it does seem like that Aaron Carter, allegedly, from what the cards were telling me and what Aaron Carter was telling me, is that P. Diddy and him were intimate in a certain way, but it doesn't seem like that he it still would have been rape or molestation, allegedly. Uh, I guess we're not supposed to say those words, but like somebody older dealing with somebody younger in that way that you're not supposed to deal with them. It does seem like that was going on, but what it seems like is that this was consensual as it could be when you're that age. It doesn't seem like it took it from him, but it definitely seems like Aaron Carter was tricked because he was still younger and P. Diddy was older, allegedly. Um, what it seems like happened is that as time went on, it does seem like the P. Diddy and Aaron Carter had a falling out. It doesn't seem like they were enemies, but it seems like that there was some type of battle going on. I do know before Aaron Carter's death and before he ended up dead, um, that Aaron Carter, it was a lot of paperwork he was looking through. He was looking through a lot of contracts. I did see that. I saw him looking through a lot of contracts that he had signed when he was younger, things he may have not have understood or really read through when he was younger, when he first got into this career, that he was trying to really understand and really get a lot of money and get things in order. I did see that. So I think we did hear some things about that he was kind of battling certain people in the industry to get certain royalties and certain money back, and expose certain things too. But that is very true. Aaron Carter was looking through a lot of paperwork at the time before he died, and was getting a lot of things in order, and was finding out a lot of things that he was not aware of, and it was shocking him and it was upsetting him. And it seems like Aaron Carter was definitely up and down, up and down, up and down, up and down, up and down. We did see that he was not stable at all. One day he may be good and loving his life. The next day he's crying. He's all over the place. The next day he's looking through paperwork and he's upset and just can't believe what the fuck is going on. Definitely was very unstable. Definitely a lot of mental health. Definitely was going back and forth of being sober and then on drugs. Saw that. Yeah, they were fucking with him. Like I said, P. Diddy. P. Diddy though, I know everybody hates P. Diddy right now, but at one time, P. Diddy was a confidant for Aaron Carter, regardless of what happened when he was younger and the things that I believe I read in the cards that came up, regardless of the SA that happened. He was a friend and somebody actually who was actually funding a lot of things for for Aaron Carter, allegedly, is what I saw too. That he was paying for a lot of stuff, and he and not just because they were doing sexual things, allegedly. I think that he had paid his dues to P. Diddy or whatever, and they were just friends of that sort. And who knows why he was paying for stuff, but I did see that, and it seems like that he did cut him off at one point. I do believe that P. Diddy tricked him too. I do believe that P. Diddy at one time told him that he was going to help him battle the industry in certain ways and get certain things back. And when it was time to go up against certain people, he kind of left him hanging. Now, it may have been because Aaron Carter didn't die not too long ago, and then P. Diddy is now sitting in prison. So I think it's only been a couple of years. So maybe P. Diddy had some other things he had to deal with, and he didn't mean to leave him hanging. But he was tricking that sort. I don't want to get too much into the reading. Like I said, I don't remember all of it, but I do want to really focus on the women. Really need to look at the women. I don't know if it's for good, bad, or just in general, but if you really want to know some information, look at the women in his life, the prominent women. So I'm going to say his mother, this girl that he was dealing with, the maid, of course, but somebody either with a Leo energy, and this is not their sun sign. It does not look like it's their sun sign unless you know somebody very close to him who was a sun sign Leo, or somebody with a lot of Leo sun energy in their chart. And yeah, look at that. That's what I want you to know. I do want to say that I do believe 100% that Aaron Carter was he was unalived. We'll say that he was suicided. It wasn't a hot shot though, because I wanted to know that too. If he was set up and he was given a bad batch, it just seems like that Aaron Carter this took too much and he overdosed. It does seem like that when I was looking at the cards and what we were discussing. It doesn't seem like it was a hot shot. It doesn't seem like his girlfriend was the one who was delivering the drugs. It doesn't seem like any of that. When I was looking at it, it just seems like he overdosed. But he was still set up, and he did let me know that he was murdered for the greater good, allegedly for for the industry. Part of it was a ritual because they do rituals and we know about these cults, and then part of it was because certain numbers came up and it was time for him to go, and then part of it was because he was speaking out on certain things, and because Aaron Carter was sticking his nose in contracts and shit that he was supposed to just let go, even though we know if we want our fucking money, we want our fucking money. But they were looking at him like, dude, just let it go, and he couldn't let it go. It was really it was driving him insane. And he had other skeletons in his closet too that were driving him insane. It doesn't seem like the sexual assault though, really, as far as P Diddy and a lot of the men that he was sleeping with allegedly in the industry. It didn't seem like that was really something that was getting to him, really, though. That doesn't seem like that was the big issue. There was something deeper. It doesn't even seem like the contracts was what was getting to him. I really want to say it was the after effect. So this was somebody who was in therapy and who I feel like was like, oh my God, like they were just molesting me my whole life when I was younger. And they took advantage of me. It just seemed like this was a melting pot of a bunch of issues. And like I said, he was just very up and down, and he could not stabilize himself. And then drugs don't help. And then when you've got a bunch of vultures who would really want to see you gone, then be here because you won't shut the fuck up. And then when they're trying to give you an olive branch, one day you're like, okay, I want to play. Then the next day you're like, fuck that. I want my just due too. They really didn't know what to do with Aaron Carter, so it just really seemed like it was easier to take Aaron Carter out. And Aaron Carter did what a lot of people on drugs do, because I think a lot of them, we think that they were that the industry had to go in there and directly be in the room with them or like shove something down their throat. And a lot of us, we do exactly what our enemies want us to do, because I'm famous for it too. If you have an addiction or things like that, and that's why a lot of psychics, one of my favorite psychics, always warned you, if you're on drugs and you're in the industry, get the fuck off them drugs. That's why there's a lot of people in the industry who we love, who we think, because we see the movies act a certain way or on certain shows, maybe they're very comedic. You're like, oh, they probably get fucked up or have really fun parties, and then you find out they don't drink at all, or they used to drink or get high, and they're like, oh no, I don't fuck with that, because they know in that industry it's easy for you to end up at P Diddy's with some baby oil all up on you, and now you on video doing shit you ain't got no business, or you in the club looking like Justin Bieber and Odell Beckham, and you on your knees looking very suspicious, or this is why a lot of them don't drink, because I think a lot of us who like to smoke our little weed and stuff, we're like, yo, if I was fucking rich and I was living this lifestyle, I couldn't imagine not having. I would be smoking the best of the best crack and the best of the best. I mean, come on now, but now it makes sense. And if you are, you need to know where your shit's coming from. But I think a lot of us, you hear a lot of dealers who brag, I know where my shit's coming from. Nobody knows where the fuck their shit's coming from. I mean, did they know where it was really coming from back in the day? No. You may know your dealer, and you may be kind of wrapped up a little bit more tighter than other folk who were getting drugs dealt to them. But who the fuck really knows where the shit is coming from when it makes it to your hand? You know, that's why some of the best who have overdosed and died, and we're like, what the fuck? Like, I've seen her do, pounds of crack and meth in one night and not dying. You're telling me she died off a fucking pinch of salt worth of fentanyl? Like, that's not adding up to me. But this will be part one. It's a lot for Aaron Carter. I really want to go into Brittany Murphy too as well. But Aaron Carter, very sad. But what most of you guys are thinking is what happened for the most part. If you want to sum it up, definitely the industry had the hand, and it was ritual, but I don't think it happened the way we all think. There was a lot of people who were actually friends with him at one time, even though they were still predators and they still came in with masks on. Aaron Carter kind of walked himself to his own demise, and I think he knew it was coming. I think spiritually he knew it was coming too. It wasn't just that he was blind. It just he kind of just walked, and he was having premonitions or having psychic feelings about it. I don't know what his psychic gift was, because we all have one, but he was feeling it. It seems like it was really targeting his stomach. I'm gonna say that, and the head and crown chakra, which is why he couldn't sleep. Because we have that one tarot card. I believe it's the Ten of Swords. Now, the Ten of Swords is when they're all stabbed in his back. I think maybe it's the Four of Swords. You guys know what I'm talking about. He's in the bed and it's got like the knight, and I think his face is covered. Oh, anyway, you guys know what card I'm talking about in the Rider Waite deck. And the person's like, he's just like miserable and crying and he can't sleep. And that was pretty much Aaron Carter every night. He was not getting any sleep. The only thing that was bringing him joy was his fiance and this new life. As far as that new house he had just moved into, because I think a lot of people were talking about that, because there's a lot of people in LA who actually lived close to him, and the place that he was living in was really not high top. Like, if a lot of you people out there who are regular have good credit, you could live in a place in your area just like he was living in. So Aaron Carter, that shows you enough that somebody was fucking with his money, and what he was owed was not what he was supposed to be getting, and that's part of why he's being pissed too. But what Aaron Carter had settled in recently, that house that he was in the neighborhood that he was in, it was still top notch, and a lot of us could not live there. But if you got good credit, I think you could live there. Um, he was excited about it. He finally become stable, and he had fought hard for his stuff. And like he told us, a lot of people were coming in and repossessing a lot of his stuff, and we're doing all sorts of stuff, because a lot of times they don't repossess. They have certain handlers who will come in and punish them and take certain things. Go back and check Jocelyn Hernandez. Remember when Jocelyn Hernandez was talking about CBJ taking her purses and hiding them from her? She was letting you know, he's my handler, and when I don't bend over and do, and I don't mean sexually, when I don't do what he wants me to do, because he is a Scorpio, and Scorpios are very controlling. When I don't do what he wants me to do, he takes certain things and does certain things that piss me off, because he knows I'm a fucking, he knows she's a beast anyway, and this bitch loses her mind. And he, they were intimate, so he is they have wrapped and bonded themselves in different ways. When you have sex with somebody, you exchange energy in different ways. So of course she knows how to get under his skin, and she knows how to get under his skin in different ways that most of us wouldn't know, just a regular person. So Stevie J was a big handler in those times, but Stevie J did put her on the map, and was a great handler for her, actually, because she owes him a lot of just due, and Jocelyn wasn't innocent either. And yeah, so that's part one on Aaron Carter. Aaron Carter, like I said, look for the women, look for that Leo, look for that Leo energy. Maybe somebody else can break down the birth charts and look and see if you see some sun energy or a prominent Leo energy in a certain house that's connected to Aaron. Um, but they took him out. It's not how you think. It wasn't a hot shot. They didn't send in a plan. It wasn't like that. Aaron Carter just crossed out, and he knew it was coming, and I really think that he just succumbed to the drugs. And now the scene was set up a certain way. We will say that, and there were certain rituals, and there's a reason why he was left in the bathtub. I will give you that. There's a really big thing with these bathtub rituals, and the energy of the water and the baptism, I believe, in the bathtub. There's a certain reason why that happened, because a lot of cup energy came out in his reading too. He had a lot of cups, which deals with drugs and things of that sort too. So they took a lot away from Aaron, but they were still offering him a lot as well. And Aaron at one point was at a certain crossroads where he could have maybe gotten back. He may have been able to get back in with the big boys in the industry, and could have carried on and maybe still be here, but they would have never let him. They never forgive you. Once you fuck up with them, they never really ever let you off, and you always will have to pay the piper. So that's what it comes down to. But unfortunately for Aaron Carter, unlike his brother, who sounds like he's straight up the demon and was perfect for this industry, it sounds like Aaron Carter was kind of tricked into a lot of things, and was a little bit too emotional for this industry when it came down to it, and when the mask finally came off, kind of looking like Justin Bieber now. Like when you finally wake up and come out of that sunken place, or even Kanye West. When Kanye West comes to, that's when we see him act the fuck up. When they have him back in his robot clone energy, and they've got him under the control that they want him to be under, he always is fine. So when the motherfuckers wake up, you see some shit go down. Part one, Aaron Carter.